Good morning to you. It's another beautiful day in the city of Awka, the capital of Anambra State. And we welcome you to the morning show, Good Morning Anambra, right here on ABS TV. My name is Chidima Orangwa. Today, we are starting the show with the stories trending on ABS website and all the national dailies. But we are going to go on a short break. When we come back, we delve straight into discussion because we have a reviewer already with us right here in the studio. Stay with us. All right, glad to have you back for the press review this morning. And we have with us on the studio Barrister Moses Ugbo. He is a public affairs analyst. Barrister, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Anambarians. Stay with us, please.
All right, quickly, let's start the press review this morning with the stories are trending on the ABS website. And the first story we have this morning, Idemili South local government stakeholders commend Soludo on rehabilitation of Nobi Oka Etite Road. Adam SPHCDA Executive Secretary, Ezenimulu elected Secretary, NIPSS Strategic Leadership, Ethics and Policy Making Course 1. NSE Chairman of Fojama calls for a state of emergency on Oko erosion sites. Report shows 12.3% increase in number of Nigerians studying in the U.S. for the 2021-2022 session. All right, these are the stories we have on the ABS website this morning. All right, Barrister, let's start with the first story there. The commendation coming from Idemili South local government stakeholders commending the governor for flagging off and also rehabilitating of Nobi Oka Etite Road.
Yeah, let me also join them in applauding the governor. You see, same way a lot of other roads, over 22 of them, have equally been flagged off, you know. So it's a step in the right direction. And thank God the rains are gone.
Yes.
So we expect to see the massive rehabilitation and construction ongoing in the state. That is why we entrusted the governor, Soludo, with our mandate, because we know definitely he will deliver.
Okay, this other story, the last one on ABS website, talking about 12.3% increase in number of students, like Nigerian students studying in the U.S.
You see, a lot of things seriously call for questions. We are talking about the standard of living in Nigeria here that had depreciated so much, talking about the hardship in layman's terms. And then we still see an increase in number of persons that wants to study in the U.S. Well, it's a challenge to Nigerian government, because if we have done our homework properly well, then there won't be this kind of flight. It's capital flight, because these are persons who should be studying here in Nigeria. And then if they are moving in droves, nowadays the language is Jaba. Everybody wants to leave the country and all of that. So it tells us that something is fundamentally wrong with the system. And if that thing is corrected, even if I have the wherewithal, what are you telling me? When you look at the scenario, look at the situation, is it the strike? Is it the ASU thing? It's neither here nor there. Children, parents, everybody is worried highly. So the end point is, let our system sit up. We should defocus on individuals and see how to build our institutions. If the institutions are strong, if the institutions are accountable and things are working the way they should, then Nigeria will definitely be a home.
All right, quickly, let's go over to the first one that reviewed this morning, and that is the National Star newspaper. The National Star newspaper, the big story in front of it is Buhari's government has worst human rights record. This is coming from Uzokame, fails in economy governance report. And then we can see tension in NAS as HOS speaker moved to extend outgoing CNA's tenure by 3 months. Air Peace moves suspending Dubai flight operations over visa ban. NBC finds Arise TV over fake report on Tinubu. And then we can see up there, Defense Headquarters releases names of 19 most wanted terrorists. Court sacks Taraba, Akwa Ibom APC candidates, others for fresh primary election. All right, these are many more other stories trending in front of the National Star newspaper this morning. So,
Yeah, looking at those stories, and the major flash there is on Buhari's government having the worst human rights records. You see, it's an innuendo. When you look at, when you consider what constitutes human rights abuse or whatever, then you should look at the engagement, both the engagement of insurgency. You should also look at what the average man faces in the streets on a daily basis. Yes, there are quite a good number of human rights abuses in this part of the world. You know, when up to today, we still have our police, after what happened the last time, the answers, whatever, and we think we've got it wrong. We still have the policing system harassing innocent citizens here and there. You still discover that the youths are not free on the road, you see. And then a lot of these things happen. I'm talking about, I am not just making a general statement. I'm talking about things that I am very privy to. Right now, and as I speak to you, I have a matter in hand that that happened between Imo State boundary and the Abia State boundary, where a young guy was made to transfer the sum of 500,000 to the policemen on duty. I am telling you. And then we're handling that matter, although the police authorities have assured us that definitely the bad eggs will be fished out. All these are part of the human rights abuses we're talking about. Because if we are not free, if we cannot live freely, if we cannot assert our rights, if we cannot be protected, if there is no level playing ground for all and sundry, especially as we move into the 2023 elections, then obviously it's part of human rights abuses. And then when you look at how insurgencies are being tackled and all of that, even criminality equally, you see, because there is due process. When arrest is made, investigation is followed up, now criminals should be charged, suspects should be charged to court. But when you discover situations where persons are equally wasted, where persons are neutralized, where without due process, then equally, that's part of the human rights abuses we're talking about. So all we can say at this point is let the institutions involved, let the government of the day activate necessary institutions to make sure that the right things are done and due process as we move into the 2023 elections.
all right, well said. Just to remind you that you can also be part of the discussion ongoing right here in the studio this morning. All you need to do is just to dial the number displayed in front of your television set and make your own contributions this morning. Now, our next paper under review is the Punch newspaper, with the banner headline there, 2023 polls, Soludo attacks Obi again, says ex-governor cannot win, negotiate with Tinubu, Atiku Soludo advises Southeast. And then we can see up there, INEC office attacks worry UK, US oppose rigging, military places 95 million bounty on 19 bandits, kingpins. Organized private sector set $9 trillion agenda for federal government. Half pay, ASU says, lecturers, intellectuals, not casual workers. Resist government control, MPAN advises media practitioners. Driver arrested for crushing Ekiti policeman to death. Oil theft, federal government arraigns 16 foreigners detained vessels. All right, these are the things, the stories on the Punch newspaper. So,
okay, when you look at Soludo attacks Obi again, says ex-governor cannot win. You see, obviously, I know there is anger in the system, especially among the youths. You see, but these things need to properly manage. You see, everybody who doesn't like how Nigeria is today is obviously obedient. That is the fact. It's not about political parties, it's not about an individual. If you look at the system and you discover that the system is simply recycling the old chips, things are not working, persons that have nothing to offer. Ordinarily, if you are not happy with the current situation of Nigeria, you are obedient. And obviously, I am. And then we encourage our father, our governor, Soludo, to please and please focus on the governance of the day, which is Anambra State. Yes, we know he's a party man. We know being APGA, you see, there is this mantra that says that party is supreme. We always want to protect the party at all costs. But when you look at APGA as a party and look at what Mr. P2B represents today, you will obviously believe with me that the Labour Party of Mr. P2B is closer to clinching the presidency than the APGA of today. That is the obvious truth. So, and we are equally begging the mobs out there, the obedient, the persons who are fed up with the system, to please reduce the outrage, the outburst. We cannot continue insulting our elders.
That is very important. That is very important.
We cannot continue insulting our elders. We cannot continue throwing tantrums. We are simply putting spanner on the wheel. You see, it will not and cannot work in that manner. So, and be that as it may, looking at the situation and all not, I want us to know that Governor Soludo is one man. And in a democratic setting, everyone is entitled to his opinion. It's freedom of speech, freedom of opinion, freedom of political conscience, and what have you. The Governor Soludo, who is my governor today in Anambra State, is not the determinant of who becomes the president of Nigeria in 2023. So he has aired his view. With or without the opinion of my governor, Governor Soludo, P2B can still become the president of Nigeria.
So we all wait for 2023 to come.
Amen.
But the important thing is,
home. And let us also know that this is a pointer to the fact that Mr. P2B's project is not an Igbo man's project. So we should not expect every Igbo man to support the system. There must be divergent opinions.
All right.
That's it.
All right, so what do you have to say about the ASU issue? They are talking about the half pay, and then ASU is saying that they are not casual workers, they are intellectuals, actually.
You see, they are getting a fair share of the system they enthroned. I keep saying it every now and then. Most of these professors held sway in the last elections, either as returning officers, and then one way or another, they did not allow level playing ground. They had the opportunity to get things right, but it was not done. Not all anyway, but when majority gets it wrong. So what do you expect? So actually, a lot of things have been mismanaged in the system by the government of the day with respect to ASU. We are calling on ASU majorly to put their house together and then help us as a system. We don't want this on and off in the system. If you are back, you should be back. If you are back, you should be back. And there are procedures of labor engagements. You cannot just wake up in the morning and then decide to go on strike. Abandon the students, abandon whatever. There are procedures. The last time, you cannot tell me that the right procedure is followed and the industrial strike mandated them to go back to the classroom. That means there's a missing link somewhere. Judiciary remains the arbiter, the final arbiter. So there's a missing link. So we want them to get back to the drawing board and then help cure this uncertainty in our educational system.
All right. Having said that, let's quickly see the stories trending in front of the Daily Independent newspaper this morning. Presidential candidate, Peace Accord under threat, MPC, asked candidates to call their spokespersons to order. Nigerians should isolate candidates instigating violence. And then down there we can see rising insecurity. Don't let Nigeria be like Afghanistan. Afenifere warns federal government. MBC finds Arise TV over report on Tinubu. JAMB automates the curriculum, accreditation, administrative processes. Court nullifies APC Gibe primaries in Akwa Ibom. Defense headquarters declares 19 terrorists wanted, places 5 million naira bounty on each. NAF strikes bandit camps, kills terrorist hostage, escapes. ICFP 2022 holds largest conference on family planning in Thailand. And then airfare hike imminent as Air Peace suspends flights to Dubai. Okay. Peace candidate, presidential candidate peace accord under threat. This is coming from MPC, and they're also asking their spokesperson, the candidate or the aspirant, to call their spokespersons to order.
Yeah, you know, words are powerful. People wake up in this part of the world. People just wake up and they say things the way they deem fit.
And also with the emergence of social media, you know, it can go viral.
A lot of things can no longer be controlled. You see. So it's a step in the right direction if the spokespersons, but nowadays we still see self-made spokespersons, persons who wake up and they are issuing communiques, they are issuing orders, and all of that. Like the last scenario we witnessed here in the States, you see individuals, so to say, the mob, in quote, coming up to analyze situations and to make utterances that will end up. So the thing is, let all the political actors hold their spokespersons responsible. When things are said, when things are released in the public domain, and you know it does not represent you and your institution, those things should be debunked immediately. They should not be allowed to get into the mainstream. That is it, until we get there. Because for now, when you look at censoring the social media and all, a lot of people tell you they're social media influencers. A lot of people are self-made journalists. A lot of people are out there. You see, things are so uncontrolled. But let us actually know who is speaking for who and who is who. When that happens, we will now know how to hold persons accountable. And the holding them accountable goes beyond caution. Persons in this part of the world should be responsible for what they say. When you say things that end up breaking down law, the existing law and order, when you say things that will end up creating more disharmony in the system, then you should be called to account for it.
Okay. So what do you have to say about the warning from Afenifere, warning the federal government about not letting Nigeria turn to become like Afghanistan?
You see, God have helped us so much that up to today, we can still sit down and discuss Nigeria. You see, things have got so bad. And then, beyond warning the presidency by Afenifere, I expect the civil society groups, I expect the stakeholders in the Nigerian project to hold the government accountable. Warning the government is not sufficient. A government that came in ab initio with the promises of ending insecurity. And this is where we are after a period of 7 years plus. And then insecurity has increased so much. So we should, you see, the primary role of government is order, security of lives and property. So the system should hold itself accountable. So beyond, I expect to see further reasonable engagement in the system. Because without security of life and order, every other thing cannot be achieved. And allowing Nigeria to drift the Afghanistan story, the Somalia story, we don't want to hear it in this part of the world. So if our government, if the presidency as we have it today cannot be held accountable now or after they are holding sway of the governance system, then if they cannot be held accountable, then that means everything goes. Anybody can come in, break down the system, allow things to drift to the worst. You see, when things get this bad, some people are benefiting. That's the obvious truth. And these persons who are benefiting are equally stakeholders in the system. And if they are not checkmated, then things will continue to go bad. That's it. So the system must hold itself accountable. If the ministers, the government, as it were, the legislature, if the system is so activated that they are answerable for whatever happens, you don't come up, election is around the corner, you come up, you're giving the people promises. Promising you do this, you do that, you do that. Yes, it's a social contract. there must be a system of accountability where these persons are called to order to say, yes, you said you will do this. What and what have you done? How have you achieved this manifesto? And all of that, point blank. And then when persons are held accountable, then the system can get better.
All right, the next paper under review this morning is This Day newspaper. NESG sets priority for Atiku, Tinubu, Obi, Kwankwaso, and others. And we have the riders under it as Buhari increased domestic production, value addition will address inflation, FX constraints, amid publication of FAC allocation meant to help citizens demand accountability. Federal government eyes 12 trillion naira in taxes by December. Any one of our candidates who seeks the office of president or vice president who does not subscribe to these consensus issues, does not clearly understand the problems facing us as a country, has not thought about how these problems must be dealt with, cannot have the capacity and understanding to lead this country at this time. This is a quote from NESG. And then we still have down there, you see the picture of Nigerian High Commissioner to United Kingdom, 40 years of cross-border banking, and so many other people standing there. These and many more are what we have in front of the This Day newspaper. Akwa Ibom court sacks Udolphi Akpabio as APC's Giba senatorial candidates. All right. Let's look at the big story, certain priorities for Atiku, Tinubu, Obi, and Kwankwaso. This is coming from NESG. And they're saying that anyone that doesn't have the priority, to tackle what is going on in the country doesn't have the capability to be the president of Nigeria.
These are statements. What's the yardstick for measuring these priorities? What's the yardstick? You see, yes, it's an open-ended statement. Anyone that doesn't have the capacity to this. Same way today, what we have is the presidency. Is the presidency, where the president is now out of the bigger picture, and that is not what it should be. So we should look at persons who are sound in mind and health, that have the required experience to move. You see, it's about the driver. It's about the driver. If the driver of a vehicle does not have a defined destination, definitely there will be no headway. So we are looking at whoever intends to sit in that seat should have a defined agenda, should have a clear picture of where we are headed as a people. So when you look at these things, at least beyond the premodal factors, such as ethnicity, religion, what have you, those things should be downplayed to the earnest. We all are suffering the same thing in this country. Same unemployment, same poverty rate that had increased, standard of living is nothing to write home about, you see. And these social problems, these issues do not select identities. They do not select ethnicity. They do not select religion. So when it hits beyond borders. Doesn't ask you whether you're a member of this political party before you can buy at a certain rate. No way. So at least having that in mind, we can insist that this time we want to get it right. And when we look at the candidates, we should go for persons that actually have what it takes. First of all, I keep saying it, sound mind. Good health. You see, presidency is not a child's play. You need to be strong. You need to have, the pressure that comes with it. You need to. Running a company, running your business, running an empire, running an organization is taskful. Talk more of that of becoming the president of Nigeria. And Nigeria we see today with all the issues bedeviling it. So we need someone that had the capacity, tested and trusted. So the priorities they are setting, very right. But in as much as we set this priority, what will determine whether the priorities will be achieved or carried out is in the personal ability and capacity of the driver, the candidate that will be in the seat.
All right, the next paper this morning is the Nation newspaper. Abdusalami panel, rising violence threatens polls. And then we still have politicians not ready to play by the rules, says INEC. Why I invited Buhari, Obi, Kwankwaso, orders by Wike. Fake news, MBC finds Arise TV 2 million naira. Petrol subsidy not sustainable. Ipman insists Oyo Ogun to end kidnapping on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. And then Buhari orders in Jos for Tinubu Shetima campaign kickoff. All right? We can see the picture there. Students that also won the UBA Foundation National AC competition. We can see them there. And then we have down there Abiodun inaugurates 2.35 kilometers Arekbo Journalist Estate Road. Oyebanjo names advisors. All right, this is it for the Nation newspaper.
You see, when you talk about rising violence, as we can see by
Abdusalami panel, yes.
You see, obviously, the reason why you see violence, both unprepared violence and what have you, the reason why you see violence is when people feel cheated out of a free and fair process. I pray that the governments of the day, the institutions, especially INEC, will at least be independent to take the right decision in all quarters and all units. Allow the will of the people. Let majority have their way and let minority have their say. It is only the system that can achieve that can guarantee that. So, but as soon as people feel that you are using the advantage of being in power against the universal will of the people, definitely there will be an uprising. Definitely there will be violence. Definitely the system. That is why what you see today, the frustration people are venting here and there, is simply as a result of their inability to compete effectively, because the system had denied them the necessary factors. So we are calling on the policing system, the institutions. It's not just about the government giving the wherewithal. There are individuals holding sway in each of these institutions that can decide whether to be influenced or not. Even when the power is transit. If you are in power today, you will not continue to be in power forever. So when we understand that, those holding sway in various institutions should stamp their feet on the ground and make sure that the right thing is done, so that they won't be washed away with the bad system. So as soon as that is guaranteed, I can tell you that violence will be abated. Trying to just equip the police, trying to shut down dissecting voices, it's not the best way. The best way is level playing ground, free and fairness, justice, equity. As soon as that is restored in the system, people will have no need to be violent. People will have no need to make trouble here and there. So as soon as people see that the will of the people, that their voices do actually count, then they have no reason to resort to violence. After all, violence is in its extreme, very, very, very expensive, very costly.
Sure.
Because before you can decide to take up violence, to become violent as an option, as an alternative, then it's a worst case scenario. So people who become violent eventually are persons who have no other option. That is the point. So let the systems begin to work. Let persons get to know that even when you seem to have been cheated, even when things seem to have gone wrong, that the judicial system is still an arbiter for the common man. If that assurance is restored, then when I am cheated out, I go to the judicial system. When a committee is set up, I go to it knowing that there are individuals that will uphold the right thing. But when a man feels that there is nothing in it anymore, it's all lost, it's all gone, and what do you expect? What do you expect? That is breakdown of law and order. So social justice is still the way out.
All right, let's also look at what Ipman is saying, insisting that petrol subsidy is no longer sustainable. I mean, what does that spell for the common man?
You see, petrol subsidy, as we know, have never been sustainable. That is the truth. But because we politicize everything in this part of the world, That is why nothing worked. Yeah, I can remember clearly in the era of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, there was a serious move to remove this subsidy because the high and mighty are benefiting greatly. They are swindling the government in the name of subsidy. Trillions of naira that go in on monthly basis or yearly basis in the name of subsidy. You will shiver. But then when the government rose up, the government of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan rose up and said, I can remember on a New Year Eve, what happened? There was total uprising here and there. The civil society groups and all of that. That is why today I wonder, where are these groups now? Where are they? Things are drifting to the worst and nobody is talking and nothing is happening. They rose up and made sure, occupied Nigeria. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and the government had no option. Because in the system, our government is so programmed, the system is so programmed that it's not about doing the right thing. It's about carrying the people along. It's about doing what the people want. Whether right or wrong, it's immaterial. It's not about the moral factor. And then eventually, the government, and I can remember then we're talking about fuel was at, fuel majorly was around 80, 85 naira, 95 naira.
Per liter.
And then that government proposed that it will come up to 195, 145 precisely. And then it was something else. Today, where are we? Where are we? Today you go out there, 240 naira per liter. And the subsidy is still there. When subsidy is removed, what do you think will happen? You see, the problem is obviously on leadership. They are telling us something we already know. When you listen to candidates campaigning and all that, you don't get to hear any new thing. It's the same thing. So they all know the problem. But who have the solution? You're going to tell us Nigeria this, Nigeria. We know the problem. We are part of it. We are suffering it. We are talking solutions. So telling us subsidy removal, that is is something we already know. What new thing? If after 7 years you are still telling us the same thing, then I wonder where we are as a people. Go out there, kerosene. Kerosene now is luxury. It's luxury. You see gas? What have you? So we are, in fact, the system is carnivorous on itself. So we expect a shift. We expect solutions.
All right. The Guardian newspaper is next. Despite Buhari's pledge to cut costs, presidential fleet racks up 64.15 billion naira. What Buhari's 237-day medical trip cost taxpayers. Landing, fuel, parking charges go up over 1.1 billion naira. Experts lament capital flight lost to medical tourism. And then Afenifere raises the alarm over kidnapping and burning of INEC offices in Southwest. We have there NBC, imposes 2 million naira fine on the Rice TV for alleged breach of a broadcasting code. Court sacks Akwa Ibom APC Guba candidate, others fresh primary. Make debate mandatory for presidential Guba candidate. CNPP tells federal government. Ministry summons meeting disowns Ethiopia-dominated Nigeria Air. Okay,
let me hint on at least more of the captions I see here. When you talk about despite Buhari's pledge to cut costs, presidential fleet rakes up as much as 64 billion. As much as. You see, this is not just about the presidential fleet, it's about the cost of governance in this part of the world. It's quite expensive. Has engulfed, and that is why being in government is a very lucrative business. A lot of people rushing in. They want to do all it takes. Persons who have not succeeded in their personal endeavors, they want to go into politics because they believe when you get there, you gather as much as unabated. You see, as governance, which is leadership, is meant to be lucrative, where people can come in and give in their best as servant leaders as you should be. Then a lot of things will be obviously taken care of. And then we see Fenifere raising alarm over kidnapping and burning of
INEC office in Southwest.
In the Southwest, you see. At this juncture, I expect the government to shift attention, even the policing authorities, to shift attention to INEC offices. Yes, without being told. This should be target points, because whoever is touching the INEC offices is actually touching the root of democracy, especially at this point. You see, when these things are burnt, then how can you guarantee credible election in those areas at this point? So we expect our policing system, the police authorities, to at least be up and do it. Let men be drafted in INEC offices all over, even at the local government level, you see, and that will go a long way in helping to take care of this, you see. And then I see NBC imposing fine on Arise News. You see, when I read that, when I saw that, it means there is actually a missing link. You see, broadcasting houses should, it's part of what we talked about earlier with respect to uncensored media system and what have you. You see, the fine is fair enough, because that information is capital one, talking about based on how false, how wrong it is. So if that is actually, because you know, in our profession, we say fairness, fair hearing. You see, this is what the government, the NBC, an arm of the government had said. We've not had the opportunity of hearing from Arise TV, you know. Yeah. So be that as it may, I think there should be a system of censorship to help put things right. And then about making debate mandatory for presidential and gubernatorial candidates. It's vital, because today, as we move forward to 2023, we have candidates, major candidates, who had shunned all forms of discourse. Major candidates. The APC candidate, for example, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had chosen at few times is Shetima, the vice president, that held sway on behalf. Imagine you are invited for a job interview. That's exactly what it is. Presidency is a serious business. You want to become the president of Nigeria. It's just like me applying for a position, for the position of a manager or whatever in a company. And then when I'm invited for interview, I send someone to go on my behalf. It doesn't make sense. So, but if this is, it is true that the debate does not totally in itself determine who does what, but at least it gives us an insight into who the candidate is. And then questions are answered directly. Than what we have all over the social media, all over the media, you see persons coming out to defend the would-be president instead of allowing him to be accessible, to be available, to be on the go. And this was exactly what happened the last time that kept us to where we are today. Because we had a candidate that was being shielded, a lot of rumors were in the making, and then today, what do we have? Presidency. Because as soon as the president, who should take charge, is not capable, that is the word, there is no gainsaying the fact, then what you see is a team of persons who are going by the name presidency. And then what happens thereafter? So it is important. Go to developed countries all over. We sit down here, we watch the arguments, we watch the debate, we watch. But here in this part of, so how do we actually, where are we headed as a people? So apart from, it's a moral right, make yourself available to the people. Make yourself, there should be discourse, there should be ideas, should be fertilized, things should be looked at. Citizens should be free to ask you questions and then understand where you are headed. Where you are headed, especially in a system where the government of the day, the incumbent government, have failed woefully. So we expect, if this same party, if this same government is fielding a candidate, we expect an assurance that things will not continue the way it has been. We expect to have an interface with this candidate, talking about facts and issues, because that is where it lies, not just on structure. So, talking about making it...
But again, does it really matter if they come and maybe lie and tell you the facts and figures, and still when they assume office, they will still do what they have all said?
Yes, in your words, does it really matter? But at least it will assuage every fear that the person who I am about to entrust into this all-important leadership position is sound. Is sound. Do you understand what I mean by being sound? Is sound, mentally sound, and is sound health-wise. There should be a discourse. Okay, and that's the reason why we have some dwarfed, thwarted video clips and all of that all over the place, assuring us that the would-be president, if eventually APC wins, is not sound mentally or health-wise. So they should prove us wrong by making him available, allowing him get involved in the system, because the presidency is tasking. We don't want body languages anymore. That is it. We don't want body languages. So it is as important as it is. We cannot underplay it in this part of the world. When other countries of the world, developed countries of the world, who were looking up to systems that are stable, it is part of their prerequisites that before this happens, candidates are allowed a wider coverage where issues are discussed and debates are made. So ours will not be different. So these things should be allowed to happen because it will help form our opinion.
Okay.
If I am certain that you know what to do, then doing it is less than 20% out of the 100. I am certain that you know what to do, because the problem of leadership here in this part of, that's why I say Nigeria is not just about leadership, it's about mentorship in this part of the world, because one part is ignorance. When persons don't know what to do, no matter what you say, no matter the miracle, no matter whatever, no matter those, nothing will work. But there are also this other percentage that knows what to do but will not do it.
All right, and on that note, we want to say a very big thank you to you, Barrister Moses Ugbo, for joining us on Press Review this morning. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it on the Press Review. Thank you so much for being part of it. My name is Chidima Oranwa. We are going on a short break, but we should see you shortly. Stay with us.